tonight to be able to introduce to you, no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in J.D. and Vice President J.D. Vance. I do.
I mean, this has 500,000 likes. And it says J.D. Vance is going to divorce his Indian wife, distance himself from his family, marry Charlie Kirk's widow, and position himself as a candidate for the 2028 presidential election. And it's all over a hug.
A single hug, that's all it took to send the internet into absolute overdrive. Get this, Erika Kirk, the widow to Charlie Kirk, was seen embracing Vice President J.D. Vance. What seemed like a brief, friendly moment on stage quickly spiraled into a full-blown online frenzy. Clips of the hug began circulating within hours, and let me tell, it had people saying that there might be more going on between those two. Something far more personal, even intimate. Screenshots of their facial expressions, slowed down videos, and side-by-side comparisons of body language went viral, and the timing made the moment even more explosive. Erika is still mourning the mysterious and controversial death of her husband, Charlie Kirk, while J.D. Vance, now the sitting vice president, is married with children. Now, rumors are spreading like wildfire. Is this just a case of misinterpreted body language, or is there truly something deeper between Erika and J.D. Vance? As the internet debates, both parties have remained silent, neither confirming nor denying the speculation. But in the world of politics and public perception, silence can sometimes speak louder than words. So was it just a hug or the start of a scandal?
Kirk was gripping the back of J.D. Vance's head like she was about to make out with him in leather pants. It's like, welcome to my husband's memorial. Fireworks everywhere. She's twerking in leather pants, making out with the vice president and president. Erika, man, grieve your husband a little bit more. This is sad to see. And then she said, no man could ever compare to my husband except J.D. Vance. He's way bigger. I'm like, bro, why would you say that? Let him rest. It's been a month.
So, have you ever seen one of those moments online that's so quick, so tiny, but somehow it blows up like it's world-changing? Well, that's exactly what's happening right now. The clip we're about to talk about is just 6 seconds long, a hug between Erika Kirk and Vice President J.D. Vance, and it has managed to divide the internet like nothing else this week. So let me tell you exactly what went down. The incident occurred at a recent Turning Point USA event. Erika Kirk, who has been carrying on her late husband Charlie Kirk's legacy, walked out under the bright lights of a packed arena to introduce Vice President J.D. Vance. The crowd erupted in applause, but then it happened. As Erika turned toward Vance, he stepped forward, arms open, and the two embraced. It lasted maybe 3 seconds, but in the world of viral clips, that was an eternity. The cameras caught everything. The way she leaned in, the way he hesitated before pulling away, the look on his face as he whispered something in her ear that no microphone picked up. To the people in the room, it might have looked like a simple human moment. Two people sharing comfort in the wake of tragedy. But to the millions watching online, it became something entirely different. Within hours, hashtag Erika and Vance was trending. TikTok was flooded with slow motion edits, dramatic background music, and captions like, "Did you see his hand placement?" and "There's tension you can't fake." Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. One side argued, "She just lost her husband. Let the woman grieve." The other side shot back, "Grief doesn't look like that." Even political pundits jumped in. One conservative commentator wrote, "That wasn't comfort, that was chemistry." Another defended them, calling the outrage manufactured drama by people addicted to scandal. But it wasn't just the hug, it was the buildup. Erika's speech, her choice of words, and the emotional comparison between her late husband and Vance set the perfect stage for controversy. And then came the screenshots, the freeze frames, the zoomed in stills showing the slight smile, the soft hand on his back, all dissected like evidence in a courtroom. Now, the speculation has evolved from online chatter to full-blown conspiracy. Was this just an innocent moment caught at the wrong time, or something more?
In his grave. What is this, Erika? Huh? This is not the way a grieving widow hugs a dear friend. What is going on here? I know it's already gonna be people in my comment section. Well, that's the way I show affection. I think the world needs more hugs. Yeah, hugs, not a hold. There's a difference between a hug and a hold. She's holding him. She's holding him. That man don't need no help holding that big ass head up. He wear eyeliner. He hold his head up to the light every day to get the perfect line on. I know, because I wear eyeliner. He doesn't need any help, Erika. Fuck is going on here? And he's smiling like he in a Pantene Pro V commercial.
Now, if you think the story ends there, think again, because the drama only intensified after Erika gave her speech. Erika began by saying, "When our team asked my dear friend, Vice President J.D. Vance, to speak today, I really prayed on it," she began softly, because obviously it's a very emotional day. But I could just hear Charlie in my heart. I could just hear him say, "Go reclaim that territory, babe. Go. The battle's already won. God's love conquers." The audience responded with cheers and applause. Then she added the line that would ignite a week-long internet storm: "No one will ever replace my husband." But I do see some similarities between my husband and JD Vice President J.D. Vance. I do. And that's why I am so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight. Now, these words made people question everything. That hug didn't look so friendly anymore. People began questioning how everything. The two hugged, with Vance resting his hands on Kirk's hips, and she threaded her fingers in his hair. At first, it seemed like a moving tribute, but once the video hit social media, those words and the brief embrace that followed became the center of a whirlwind. Clips replayed endlessly: the crowd's roar, the quick hug, the shared glance. To make things worse, J.D. Vance's wife, Usha, was also present during the event. Critics took to social media and shared their thoughts about the onstage moment. Calling it right now, J.D. Vance will divorce Usha, trade her in, and will remarry ex-Epstein recruit and recent widow Erika Kirk, one critic wrote, and he will be the 2028 Republican presidential nominee.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erika Kirk, because Erika Kirk and J.D. Vance is the Christian nationalist wet dream, and you won't convince me otherwise. What is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, you don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are.
Now, some viewers called it a sincere, faith-filled moment of mutual respect. Others claimed it looked uncomfortably personal. What poured out next was a mix of fascination, outrage, and speculation. Hashtags trended, reaction videos multiplied, talk shows debated whether the scene showed compassion or crossed a line. Even late-night hosts joked about how 6 seconds can light up the internet. Political analysts pointed out that these viral moments often blur the line between personal grief and public image. Supporters urged empathy, reminding people that both figures were under intense scrutiny. Critics, however, said the optics were careless, especially given the presence of Vance's family and the emotional context surrounding Kirk's recent loss. Now, things didn't calm down after that onstage moment. In fact, they got even messier. Just hours later, clips began circulating of Vice President J.D. Vance making remarks about his interfaith marriage, comments that many found surprising, even awkward, in light of what had just happened. When asked during a Q&A how he and his wife, Usha, navigate their interfaith household, she was raised Hindu, and he's a recent Catholic convert. Vance's response caught attention for all the wrong reasons. "Most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church," Vance said. "Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, honestly, I do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way." The comments were meant, perhaps, as a personal reflection of faith, but in the volatile atmosphere following that hug, the internet wasn't feeling generous. Critics pounced almost immediately. Some called the remarks tone deaf, arguing that they reinforced the image of a man comfortable with control, whether in politics, religion, or personal relationships. Others said the statement was being blown out of proportion, insisting it was simply a husband expressing hope for spiritual unity with his family. Still, the timing couldn't have been worse. You see, Vance's comments about his wife only fueled conspiracies that he truly was looking to dumb her down and start up a new relationship with Erika. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk maintained a calm, almost rehearsed silence. No clarifications, no statements, just a series of social media posts about faith, grace, and divine timing. Her followers called it poise. Her critics called it it deflection. And as the storm grew louder, one thing became clear. This wasn't just about a hug anymore. It had become a full-blown narrative, one that blurred the lines between politics, faith, and personal loyalty. And you know how the internet gets when the narrative starts getting blurred. Just take a look at these reactions from people. If a widow feels bold enough to run her fingers through the hair of the married vice president publicly on national TV, no one's fooling anyone. That comfort screams they have likely crossed far more intimate lines off camera. You can't normalize such boundary blurring without the precedent already set in private. Can't convince me otherwise. Nah, this is insane. Damn, he really grabbed her waist in front of all those people. It's worse than that. He's insulted his own wife right in front of her, then had the audacity to claim she laughed about it. He's definitely tapping that. The worst part is he stood there and complained about his wife and his disappointment in her not being a Christian, right in front of his side piece. I hope Usha has good security to understand why this 6-second moment ignited such an uproar. You have to look beyond the optics and into the narratives. Both Erika and J.D. Vance represent faith and family. Charlie Kirk built his career championing a particular brand of Christian conservatism, one rooted in conviction, discipline, and defiance. After his death, Erika became the emotional bridge between his legacy and the movement he founded. Her speeches since then have often invoked faith, divine calling, and perseverance, the very values Charlie embodied. So when she looked out into that packed Turning Point USA arena and said she saw similarities between Charlie and J.D. Vance, it was, on paper, an emotional tribute, one leader honoring another. But the internet doesn't deal in nuance. Viewers clipped, slowed, and reanalyzed every second of that embrace. What many saw as reverence, others interpreted as something more complicated, even inappropriate. In a political era built on viral outrage, intent doesn't matter as much as interpretation. Because to many watching, Erika and J.D. didn't just share a hug. They collided as symbols. Erika, the widow carrying the flame of a fallen culture warrior. J.D., the vice president and rising standard bearer for Christian populism. Together, even in a fleeting moment, they embodied the shifting power dynamics within America's conservative movement, where faith, image, and ambition constantly intertwine. For Turning Point USA, that symbolism hit especially hard. The organization is in a fragile transition. Charlie wasn't just its founder, he was its personality, its firebrand, its social media pulse. Erika, once seen as a grieving figurehead, has surprised many by stepping up, confident, articulate, and unapologetically present. But her rise hasn't come without tension. Behind closed doors, insiders whisper about competing visions, preserving Charlie's legacy versus modernizing the movement under her watch. And that's what made the hug viral. It wasn't just about proximity, it was about power. To Erika's supporters, the moment represented grace, a woman finding strength in faith and partnership. To critics, it hinted at something more, a merging of personal grief and political ambition. Either way, it was proof that every step she takes, every gesture, every word will now be dissected under a microscope. Because as the line between faith and politics blurs, and as Turning Point USA reshapes itself under new leadership, one question lingers in the air like static. Is Erika Kirk honoring Charlie's legacy or rewriting it for a new era? Let me know your opinion in the comments. And don't forget to check out our other videos for even more shocking drama surrounding Erika. Till next time, bye.